Close your eyes for a second. Imagine waking up before sunrise. No phone, no notifications, no noise. Just you, a candle, and a blank page. That's how Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth, began every single morning of his life. He wasn't writing poetry, he wasn't journaling his feelings. He was doing something far more powerful. Something so simple, it takes only 5 minutes, yet so profound, it rewired how he thought, how he led, and how he faced death with a smile. And here's the shocking part. This exercise has been sitting right in front of us for nearly 2,000 years, hidden in plain sight, inside the pages of Meditations, a book Marcus never intended anyone to read. These were private notes, personal commands he gave to himself every single morning. So what was this exercise? What did the greatest Stoic philosopher who ever lived force himself to do before he faced the chaos of running an empire? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just know what it is. You'll understand why it works, and you'll never see your mornings the same way again. This isn't motivational fluff. This is ancient cognitive science, and it changed my life. It might just change yours too. Before we dive into the exercise itself, you need to understand the man behind it, because context is everything. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire from 161 to 180 AD. He commanded armies. He managed plagues. He dealt with betrayal from people he trusted with his life. He lost children. He buried friends. He faced barbarian invasions on multiple fronts, simultaneously. And through all of it, he remained calm, rational, grounded, compassionate. Historians still can't fully explain it. How does a man hold that much power, face that much suffering, and still be described as good? Not just effective, genuinely good? The answer isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even intelligence, though he was brilliant. The answer is a daily practice. See, Marcus understood something most of us have forgotten in the modern world, that your mind, left untrained, will betray you. It will spiral into anxiety. It will catastrophize. It will convince you that small problems are existential threats. But a trained mind, a mind that has been disciplined every morning before the world gets to it, that mind becomes unshakable. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to be an emperor to use this tool. You just need 5 minutes and the willingness to be honest with yourself. Now, before I reveal the exact exercise, let's lay one crucial foundation, because without understanding why Stoicism works, the exercise will feel like just another productivity hack. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions. Let's kill that myth right now. It's not about walking around like a stone-faced robot, feeling nothing. Stoicism is about choosing which emotions you give power to. The Stoics believed in one core idea, the dichotomy of control. There are things within your control, your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, your values, and there are things outside your control, other people, the weather, the economy, what happens to your body. Most human suffering, the Stoics argued, comes from confusing these two categories. We rage at traffic. We panic about opinions. We lose sleep over things we cannot change. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line alone could restructure your entire life if you truly internalized it. And that's exactly what the 5-minute exercise was designed to do. Every morning, Marcus wasn't just writing thoughts. He was programming his mind, realigning his perspective, reminding himself of what was real, what mattered, and what was simply noise. This exercise sits at the intersection of mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, and ancient wisdom. And science, modern neuroscience, is finally catching up to what Marcus knew 2,000 years ago. All right, here it is. The exercise that Marcus Aurelius practiced every single morning. It's called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of adversity. In plain English, before your day begins, you deliberately imagine everything that could go wrong. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds depressing. That sounds like anxiety training. Why would I start my morning by thinking about bad things? Here's why. Because your brain is going to worry anyway. The question is whether it does it randomly and uncontrollably throughout your day, hijacking your focus, triggering your stress response, ruining your relationships, or whether it does it deliberately and intentionally in a controlled 5-minute window before any of it actually happens. When you imagine the difficulties before they arrive, you rob them of their power to shock you. Marcus would sit each morning and ask himself 3 questions. Write these down. Question 1, what challenges might I face today? Question 2, how will I respond if they happen? With virtue, with patience, with reason. Question 3, what is within my control and what must I accept? That's it. 3 questions, 5 minutes, every single morning. And what this does neurologically is extraordinary, which we'll get into in the next section. But first, understand this. You're not being pessimistic. You're being prepared. There's a massive difference. Let's talk science, because I want you to understand this isn't just philosophy. This is how your brain literally functions. Your brain has a region called the amygdala. It's your threat detection system. When something unexpected and threatening happens, the amygdala fires, flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart races, your thinking narrows, you react instead of respond. This is why people say things they regret when they're angry, why they freeze under pressure, why they make terrible decisions in stressful moments. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. Neuroscientists have discovered that when you vividly imagine a negative event, really walk through it in your mind, your brain processes it similarly to a real experience, which means the emotional charge of that event begins to diminish. It's called emotional habituation. By imagining the difficult conversation, the unexpected failure, the frustrating person before they happen, you're essentially pre-processing the emotional response. So when reality delivers that moment, your amygdala doesn't fire as hard. You stay calm. You stay clear. Modern psychologists call this cognitive rehearsal. Elite athletes use it. Navy SEALs use it. High-performance executives use it. Marcus Aurelius called it his morning writing practice, and he used it to run an empire for nearly 2 decades without breaking. 5 minutes of deliberate discomfort every morning creates hours of emotional resilience throughout your day. Let me make this completely practical for you. No vague advice, no spiritual hand-waving. Here is exactly how to implement this exercise, starting tomorrow morning. Step 1. Wake up before the noise starts. This doesn't mean 4 a.m. It means 10 minutes before your household wakes up. Before you check your phone, before email, before news. Protect this window like it's the most important meeting of your day, because it is. Step 2. Get a physical notebook. Not your phone, not a laptop, a real pen and real paper. There is research showing that handwriting engages different, deeper cognitive processes than typing. Marcus used a stylus and wax tablets. You can use a $5 notebook from the pharmacy. Step 3. Write the date and answer 3 questions. Write, what difficulties might I face today? And be specific. Not things might go wrong. Think about your actual day, your actual relationships, your actual challenges.
Write, how will I choose to respond? Describe the version of yourself you want to be in that moment. Calm, measured, wise. Write, what do I need to let go of? Name the things outside your control that you've been gripping too tightly. Step 4, read it back once, slowly. Step 5, close the notebook, stand up, begin. That's the entire protocol. 5 minutes, 3 questions, 1 notebook. Done. Do this for 7 days straight, just 7, and notice what happens to how you move through difficulty.
Let me paint you a picture, because abstract wisdom is useless without real-world application. You have a difficult meeting at work today. Your boss has been cold lately. You're not sure if your job is secure. The old you would walk into that meeting already tense, already defensive, already scanning for threats. But you've done your 5 minutes this morning. You wrote, the meeting might go badly. My boss might say something that stings. I might feel judged or dismissed. And then you wrote, if that happens, I will breathe. I will listen before I react. I will remember that my worth is not decided by this person's opinion. I will focus on what I can control, my preparation, my honesty, my composure. You walk into that meeting differently. Not with arrogance, with groundedness. Whatever happens, you've already been there in your mind. You've already chosen how you'll respond.
That's not a small thing. That is everything. Or consider this. Your partner says something hurtful tonight. The old you, tired, unguarded, reactive, snaps back. You both say things you regret. Another wound added to the relationship. But this morning, you wrote, someone I love might frustrate me today. And you chose in advance to respond with curiosity instead of anger. That one decision, made at 6 a.m. with a pen and paper, saves a relationship at 9 p.m. This is how Stoics live. Not reactively, deliberately.
Now, let's talk about what not to do. Because most people who try this exercise abandon it within 3 days, and it's always for the same reasons. Mistake 1, being too vague. Writing something bad might happen today is useless. Your brain needs specifics. Name the actual person, the actual situation, the actual fear. Specificity is where the power lives. Mistake 2, spiraling into catastrophe. This exercise is about preparation, not despair. You're imagining difficulties so you can rehearse wisdom, not so you can convince yourself the world is ending. Keep one foot in reality. The point is readiness, not paralysis. Mistake 3, skipping the response. Most people write what might go wrong and stop there. But the second question, how will I respond with virtue, is actually the most important part. Without it, you're just rehearsing anxiety. With it, you're rehearsing mastery.
Mistake 4, doing it on your phone. I said this before and I'll say it again. The moment you pick up your phone, you've entered the world's agenda. Protect those 5 minutes with paper and pen. The phone can wait. Mistake 5, expecting instant transformation. This is a practice, like exercise, like music. The results are cumulative. After 1 day, you'll feel slightly more grounded. After 30 days, you'll barely recognize the version of yourself who used to panic over small things. Consistency is the only requirement.
Marcus Aurelius wasn't alone in this. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, playwright, and advisor to Emperor Nero, wrote extensively about deliberately imagining loss. He would regularly ask himself, what would I do if I lost everything? Not to be morbid, but so that if it ever happened, he would not be destroyed by it. Epictetus, born a slave who became one of the most influential philosophers in Roman history, taught his students that the primary task of philosophy was not to accumulate knowledge. It was to train the mind to be free, regardless of external circumstances. His entire school was built on morning practices of mental preparation. Jump forward to the 20th century. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote about how the prisoners who endured were those who had, in some way, mentally prepared for suffering, not accepted it as deserved, but refused to be surprised by it.
Ryan Holiday, whose modern books on Stoicism have sold millions of copies, credits this exact morning exercise as the single most important tool in his life. Even today, when you read interviews with elite performers, from Kobe Bryant to Tim Ferriss to Jocko Willink, you hear echoes of Premeditatio Malorum. Different names, same ancient practice. The most resilient people in human history all understood one thing: the mind must be prepared before the day begins.
We've come a long way together in this video, and I want to leave you with something that stays with you. Most people live their entire lives reacting. They wake up, check their phone, absorb the world's anxiety, and then stumble through their day, bumping into problems they were never prepared for, responding in ways they regret, wondering why life feels so out of control. And the tragedy is, they never realized there was another option. 5 minutes, every morning, a pen, a notebook, 3 honest questions. That's the entire gap between a reactive life and a deliberate one.
Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful human beings who ever lived. He faced things most of us can't imagine. And every morning, without exception, he sat down, he was honest with himself about the day ahead, and he chose, in advance, who he was going to be. You have that same choice every single morning. You don't need an empire to practice Stoicism. You just need the courage to sit with yourself for 5 minutes before the world gets its hands on you. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, before your phone, before coffee, before anything, try it. Just once. Write the 3 questions. Answer them honestly.
And if this video gave you even one idea that shifts how you move through your day, please subscribe. Because every week, we go deep into the ancient wisdom that modern life forgot and translate it into tools you can actually use. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That starts tomorrow morning. 5 minutes, a blank page, and the decision to choose instead of just react. I'll see you in the next one.